Hi guys, Sasha from Mobile Geeks, and today we have a kind of special unboxing because it brings us back to, well, the origin of Mobile Geeks or of netbook news, or what it was called EPC news at the very beginning. This was my first EPC, that's the EPC 701 series. That was the 8G with 8 GB of SSD. This one came out in December 2007. I bought it while I was living in the US at that time, and somehow it kind of changed my life because I started to blog about netbooks. And what I would like to show you today is a little bit about the evolution of the very first EPC. As you can tell, I mean, this was a teeny tiny little device with a 7-inch screen. 800 by 480 was the resolution. Absolutely crazy. Xandros Linux pre-installed, but still it kind of changed the world of mobile computing, and not only of mobile computing but also for PCs and for notebooks in general. So this was the very first EPC. We also have the very last EPC, that's the EPC 1025, and I think it's an absolutely gorgeous device, as you can see, with a matte 10.1 inch screen. Unfortunately only 1024 by 768, but this one came with an Intel Atom N2800 dual-core processor, and I put 4 GB of RAM in here and even 128 GB Samsung SSD. So this is a really fast device. That was the very last one, and it got out or came out last year. Well, then we also had a kind of another product series from ASUS, and that's a Transformer Pad series, which was at that time also somehow based on the heritage of the EPC, because as you can tell, these were the first 2-in-1 devices. ASUS introduced this almost 3.5 years ago during Computex. The first prototypes came out. So I think this is the Infinity that we have here. That was a Tegra 3 device. Has a 1080p screen, a beautiful Android operating system. It was super fast, and once again it came with a docking station, so you could also use it somehow as a netbook. Let's talk not about old devices anymore. Let's go for something new, and this is down here. That's the new ASUS Transformer Book T100T. This is the evolution of the netbook, the evolution of the Transformer Pad. It's one of the latest Intel Bay Trail SoC, and it comes with Windows 8.1. Starts at $349. We are going to unbox it. We're going to tell you everything you need to know about it. So the ASUS Transformer Book T100T, well, originally it launched as the T100. I'm not sure if this is just a 64 GB version. It's called T100T. I think you just need to look it up in your online shop, or wherever you gotta buy your gadgets. Let's just dive right into it, because seriously guys, I've been so waiting for this. This is actually the very first netbook video that I'm doing for, God, Jesus, for ages. Yeah, pretty much ages. So let's just get all the goodies out here. So we have a warranty card here. This is a premium care, so like an Apple Care. No, sorry, that's a warranty card. It's a kind of quick starter. And over here we have, well, we have an Office product license, and one for Windows 8.1. Yeah, maybe. So that's the first for me, because that's also the first Windows native Windows 8.1 device, because we've been updating our other Windows 8 device to 8.1 yesterday. So this is a USB to micro USB for the charger. That's our standard PSU, nothing new here. And that's about it. I mean, hello ASUS, where's the sleeve? So I got, especially over here in Taiwan, got so used to getting a sleeve to a case. There's nothing in here. This is kind of sad, because this is definitely something that I need for a device like this, especially when you're going on the road. Just to let you know, the full review will be online in about 1.5 years. Yeah, 1.5 years, sure. In about 1.5 weeks, because I'm taking this device with me to the Nokia World in Abu Dhabi, just to, you know what, do a real field testing with it, because I want to run some video rendering on it, and I want to check out if it's just supporting the Intel QuickSync. And oh god, these foils are so annoying. You know, instead of foils, why not just, as I said, getting this device into a sleeve? Then you don't need these plastic foils. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so this is our docking station, our keyboard, and of course the tablet unit. Before we're taking a look at the tablet unit, I would like to tell you something about the keyboard. Well, first of all, this is a proper chiclet keyboard, no doubt about this, right? The physical feedback of the keys is pretty good. Kind of worried about the super small right shift key. Not so sure if this one row enter key is enough. Very small tab key, and a mouse pad with integrated mouse buttons, or a trackpad with integrated buttons. That's about it. But you know what I immediately realized is, if this is something I'm going to compare to previous versions, especially like, oh, you know what, let's start it with the last EPC here. Now let's take a look at this. I think you can already, oh, I need to zoom out again. I think you can already tell a difference. So the keys are already a little bit bigger on the original EPC, the very last EPC that came to the market. Yeah, plus, you know, they feel more solid than this one, which kind of makes sense in terms of the depth of the keyboard here. So let's just move this one over here. And now let's check out the transformer pad. And this is something I'm a little bit worried about. Well, not worried, right? But I mean, hello ASUS. You've been showing us already that you're capable of building amazing keyboards. Now look at these keys here and those. I think that's a little bit disappointing, because this is the same size, pretty much. Well, not only pretty much, it is the same size, right? I mean, we're talking about a 10-inch form factor. And the keyboard on the transformer pad is just way better. Way better in terms of, I would say, like 40% better. And actually, I would have expected to get anything like this. It might be a matter of the price, because this is also using different materials. But still, I mean, this is supposed to be a kind of evolution of the netbook, and therefore I was kind of hoping to get a proper keyboard like this. So let's get this in here, and finally start our little tour of the device. Here we go. So let's just close it. Of course, this is all plastic. Can we even see these circles? Yeah, if you're taking a very, very close look, what you can see this kind of iconic ASUS circle design. Can I? Or was it just an optical illusion for me? Kind of looks like it. Yeah, you definitely can do that. Well, just trust me on this. I mean, that's not really very important, but you can definitely tell it's there. So here we have USB 3.0. We have this on and off switch for the accelerometer. We have a volume rocker. There's a power button here, and on this side we have a micro USB, HDMI out, jack for your headset, and a micro SD card slot, and that's about it. There's nothing on the back side except of a Windows 8 sticker. You can't change your battery at all. Basically, this is also because, I mean, there is no battery in the docking stations, so that's nothing like what we saw with the transformer pad Infinity before. Let's just open the device. Oh, by the way, this is really light. So that means we're talking about 540 grams, I think, for the tablet, and 520 for the keyboard, which makes it roughly about a little bit more than a kilogram, and also turns it into one of the lightest netbooks or EPCs or whatever ASUS built. And by the way, you know what, this is something that I missed. Can you see the stereo speakers here on the back? So it's going to be interesting also to check out the speakers. But once again, this is something for our real review. We have 2 megapixel camera here and a 10.1 inch 1366 by 768 IPS display that we're going to fire up right away. And finally, or it seems like our unit had a little bit of a problem with an update of Windows 8.1. So he was downloading a bunch of files and tried to update them, and then said, you know, that it seemed there was a problem. Yes, obviously there was a problem because it wasn't booting up. And it was running an auto repair, and now finally here we are. And this all seems to work. Let's, you know what, let's just get rid of the docking station here, and let's just use the tablet unit, because I think that in general this makes more sense. How about this little fancy stand what we got from ASUS? Finally, wait to check it out. Okay, hello, here we go. Let's do that. Let's zoom in here. So, Windows 8.1, what we are actually really interested in is how does it work on a Bay Trail platform. So this is the Z3740, which is a quad core at I think 1.3 gigahertz, but we can check that out later. And yeah, in general, I think the performance is just absolutely brilliant, right? There's nothing to complain about, especially, I mean, okay, this might not be an in-depth performance test by just swiping all over the screen, right, on a Metro UI. But let me tell you that everything on the device feels quite zippy. Here you go. So, oh, the wild, messy state of smartwatches. Let's see what that is. Okay, so I clicked on the smartwatches. I'm getting an article about slavery. Yeah, here we go. That's kind of weird. Let's just go back. And yeah, Sasha and the Windows 8 apps. This is almost a little bit of a challenge. Yep, here we go. Let's try out the desktop. ASUS is waiting for product registration, and I think now we're coming very, very close to the point where I have to actually use the keyboard. I want to check out the screen, and let's do Paint. And let's try all 4 fingers to see how many touch points we're getting here. And just initialize the ASUS web storage. Okay, I would say 5. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's definitely going to be 5 and nothing more but 5. So there are 10 touch screens out there, but once again, this is a matter of the price. And as soon as you're reaching these 5 touch points, I think there's almost no need to get a 10 touch screen, because even for very fast writers on a virtual keyboard, you know what, they're not in need of this. 5 touch point is definitely enough. So at least we figured that out already. Let's not save it. What about the viewing angles of it? So let's try this here. That actually looks pretty good. Might look a little bit different on camera, because yeah. But in general, to me, this feels like a really good viewing angle. The colors are not changing at all, and like a very solid screen in general. With 1366 by 768, a couple of people were a little bit disappointed. We're expecting to get a 1080p screen on there, but once again, this is also a matter of the price. Let's just quickly get this back into the docking station. Here we go, that's a nice sound. So, and let's just check out something about the PC properties. Here we go. Here you go, 2 gigabytes, and there's a Z3740 at 1.33 gigahertz, and it tells us that this is a 30-bit operating system. Let's check out the task manager quickly. Okay, I need more details, and here's the performance, and there you can see it's running now at 0.5 gigahertz. Well, it has this auto kind of speed stepping or throttling, and so it's immediately going down. And here we have the 4 cores, and even 4 logical cores. And okay, let's just get rid of this, and let's also check, what about how much space do we have left here? So look at this. It says there are 32.3 gigabytes left of 49.1. So half of the 64 gigabytes are already gone. Right? For those guys that are thinking about getting the 32 gigabyte version of it, forget it. If there actually is any 32 gigabyte version left. Maybe they completely ditched it, because here in Taiwan you can only get the 64 gigabyte version, and therefore I think yeah, that's it, at least for our very first look at the ASUS Transformer Book T100. Once again, I'm going to do an in-depth review of this device, but I have to just take it on a little field trip, let's call it a field trip to Nokia World in Abu Dhabi, and then we're going to figure out how QuickSync works on the GPU. It's going to be very, very interesting to do some HD video rendering, because for me, right, this would be crucial to use this device on the road. First impressions of it are, you know what, pretty much the same that I got during the launch event, saying that this is definitely the official successor of the EPC line, right? Here, like the very, very last one over here. Maybe somehow it feels a little bit like a hybrid in between this last EPC and a transformer pad. It's running a full Windows 8.1. There's nothing RT-ish in there. Of course, it's also running on an x86 processor, and therefore you can install all the apps that you know from your notebook and from your desktop. At a starting point at $349 US dollars. I think it's also starting at 349 euros. It's slightly more expensive over the 64 gigabyte in Taiwan, as I said, was like $430. I think this is a bargain, absolutely. What we need to do right now is let's do some benchmarking, let's do battery life tests, of course, and try out all these, you know what, little tests gonna end up into a final result. Last but not least, I'm doing one little restart here and see how quickly this is going to happen. Because usually I think we should be able to boot up in roughly about 15 to 20 seconds. Keep in mind that this isn't well, it is still flash memory, but it's nothing like what you would expect from an SSD. This is an eMMC, but it should definitely be fast enough. So here we go. It's going through the BIOS. Come on, T100. That's exactly what happened to me before, so it's restarting again. Maybe that's somehow an omen for this video. maybe we should do a complete new installation of our T100T, because it seems that during the update process we've had a little bit of a problem. But just trust me, you know, that's only our unit. And Windows 8.1 just came out yesterday, so maybe they're still having some kind of problems. So of course it's way too early to come up with any verdict of this device. Right? We have it for a couple of hours. We played with it in San Francisco, and I'm bringing it to a test by taking it with me to the Nokia World next week in Abu Dhabi, and I will try to figure out if this could be my old mobile blogging device, especially when I'm doing video rendering, and somehow it should perform quite well because it will offer you the Intel QuickSync technology. And I would kind of express to have like maybe 150% performance gain in terms of real-time rendering. So to do our 1080p videos on a device that has like 10 hours of battery life, that costs $350, and that is maybe slightly over 1 kilogram, is really quite tempting and teasing me to just try it next week. My first impression is I don't like the keyboard that much anymore. They really have to bring in their A game again to, you know what, to create something that reminds me of the Transformer Pad Infinity, which still has, in my opinion, the best keyboard that you can get on an Android device. So ASUS knows how to do this, and I'm just wondering why they couldn't do this on the T100T. Maybe it's a matter of the price. But even the very last EPC, which was that cheap, right? This was going like for $300, has a way better keyboard. So it can't be a matter of the price, I would guess. But still, they can always just exchange the keyboard or maybe coming up with a better solution. What I like about this device so far is the boot up time just coming up in like, I don't know, 15 seconds or so. It's just really fast. The build quality is good, it's light, and if it can just kind of keep this promise that ASUS made that this is an all-day battery, right, this would be really interesting to use in the future on the show floor at events. I mean, the netbooks came a long way. If you compare this very first EPC 701 from 2007 now with the Transformer Book T100T, this is just amazing. In terms of the performance, what you could guess is that this will just drive circuits around this fellow over here. And I would guess like 10 times faster, probably. We just need to bring it to a test with some benchmarks. It would be kind of interesting to benchmark it to the very last EPC, to the very first EPC, to the very last EPC, and to also see how it performs compared to a quad-core Tegra 3. So this is the very first look and the first unboxing of the new Gosh, I'm so into this EPC thing right now. The ASUS Transformer Book T100T. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, because I'm going to use them for my video review, which should be up in roughly about 2 weeks. So this is the EPC Transformer Book. I said it again, EPC, EPC, EPC. I'm so into EPC, obviously. That's the new ASUS Transformer Book T100. I'm Sasha for Mobile Geeks, and thanks for watching.